Walking has become the holy grail for me, and it has helped me to lose over 35 pounds. But on this journey, I learned a lot of things the hard way, and I want to make sure that you don't have to do the same on your journey. If you're on your walking journey or you're ready to start your walking journey, get it right from the get go so you don't have to learn the hard way. Make sure to like this video and also comment down below where you are in your walking journey. Did you just start? Have you been doing it for a while? How many steps you usually get, and let's root each other on in the comments. And also, if you're new here, my name's Coco. I talk all things fitness, self development, and wellness, and I'm also a registered nurse. So you might as well subscribe and join the tribe. And getting right into it, one of the very first things that I had to learn the hard way is that you still need to stretch. Stretching is something that you would think we're just walking. It's not like I'm about to go running. It's not like I'm about to lift weights. So why would I need to stretch, right? It almost seems like it's not necessary because we're just walking. But I learned the hard way when my muscles were tightening up. I felt stiff, my legs were sore, all these different things. And the common denominator was that I was never stretching, especially when I started to go longer distances and I'm walking more steps and I'm walking consistently a lot of the time. I had to make sure that I started stretching because, of course, and then also walking with a faster pace, and I'm just going straight into walking all the time, and it was causing my muscles to be more intense, and it was making it harder going forward to be able to go on my walks because now my body is feeling uncomfortable, like basically like a cold start, like you do a car. That's how I was doing it. But now I make sure to warm up, I make sure to stretch. Stretching is just really important for the muscles to warm them up and get them going. So that's something that I learned the hard way with my muscles being sore, with my just feeling like, oh my gosh, I really felt this walk, right? So, of course, regardless, the more you start to walk, you will feel it and you'll have to get proper rest, but definitely making sure to stretch is so important. And another thing that I learned the hard way when it came to walking was that nutrition still matters. When they say 80-20, where nutrition is 80% and then 20% is working out. So a lot of times I used to feel like I can just outwork my bad diet. If I'm going to walk 10,000 steps today, then that's all I need to do. Doesn't matter what I eat today. And I had to realize the hard way, no, it does not work like that, because maybe on my walk of getting 10,000 steps, I'm burning about 300 calories. But these meals that I'm eating that are super unhealthy, greasy, fried foods are 1,000 calories in one meal. Sugary drinks that I'm drinking are 600 calories. So if I'm doing that and I'm going on my walks, I'm not seeing any changes, I'm not losing weight, I look the same way, I had to take a step back and realize I was doing this wrong. I was eating foods that I knew I shouldn't be eating. I was eating fried foods. I was overeating. I was eating more than one serving for one person. And it's no surprise that I was not losing weight and I wasn't reaching my fitness goals because I just was eating anything and everything. So I had to realize that nutrition is so important. It's not all one or the other. It's not all nutrition and no movement, and it's not all movement and no proper nutrition. So I had to start incorporating healthier choices into my diet and eating more whole foods and basically getting rid of eating so many processed foods like cookies and chips and again these sugary drinks, and of course those things in moderation, here and there is not the craziest thing in the world. But when it's like my entire diet and all of my calories, because they're so much harder to get full off of, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reward myself with this pint of ice cream because I went and walked 10,000 steps. Like, that is not the case. I had to stop making food a reward and find other rewarding things. And the walk in itself, seeing that as a reward where I get to move my body and knowing that is going to improve my mood, and rewarding myself with a new water bottle or some new socks or something like that. But getting out of that mindset of like, oh, I'm going to reward myself with a cookie from Crumble. So yeah, it was another thing that I had to learn the hard way to actually finally start seeing results on my journey. And then another thing that I had to learn was that I was really dehydrated. I was not getting enough water, and that was also affecting how my walks went, and it was also affecting my appetite. So before, I would get like a little bit of water, but I didn't think that it was so necessary to make sure I was hydrated on my walks. but especially walking at a quicker pace, especially walking when it's hot outside. It's easy to work up a sweat, and then we're losing water along with electrolytes. So it's so important to make sure to replenish that. So I had to make sure that I was getting enough water. And when I started hydrating myself more, I felt more energized to go on these longer walks. You felt better, my body felt better. And also, when it came to eating, I was not as ravenously hungry because I was hydrated. And a lot of times, what I thought was hunger was really thirst because I had nothing but coffee and barely having any water to actually hydrate myself. And then wondering why I'm not feeling satisfied as far as when I eat food and not feeling fully satiated. But instead, I had to start drinking more water before my meals and after my meals. And that's when I noticed like a big difference when it came to my performance with my walks and the gym, and also as far as my hunger. And speaking of hunger, another thing that I had to learn the hard way is that the more I started to pick up my amount of steps and my pace, was that I also would pick up an appetite. Of course, compared to certain other activities, I'm not as ravenously hungry, but I can't negate the fact or ignore that my appetite does increase after my long walks. So I had to, instead of being surprised or feeling like, oh, well, I don't know why I'm hungry today. I don't know why I'm hungrier, like just finding like quick snack or finding like fast food or something. I had to plan for that, account for that, expect that my appetite will be picked up a little more because I am being more active. Getting 10,000 steps a day like is going to up my metabolism, and it's also going to up my appetite a little bit. So instead of being shocked with that, it's kind of preparing for that. So with preparing for it, I know and expect that I'm going to be hungry. So I make sure that I have healthy meals prepared. I make sure that I have healthy groceries available and I have my healthy snacks. So it's not a surprise and it's not catching me off guard where I'm just going to reach for any and every type of food, but instead like have my healthy protein, I have my complex carbs, I have my vegetables for nutrients, I have my healthy fats, where I'll have a complete whole nutritious meal where I'm not still searching for more and more afterwards because I wasn't expecting for my appetite to pick up like that. So that's something that I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, oh, I'm just walking. Like, it's not like my appetite will be increased at all, but I still am exerting energy either way. So now I just plan accordingly for that and make sure that I am satiated and I'm eating the proper balanced meal so that I'm able to satisfy my hunger and not overeat at the same time. And then another thing that I had to realize the hard way was that with walking, and as I increase my steps, as I increase my intensity, then I walking longer distances, that is where my feet started to get sore. And with walking, just going straight into it, sometimes we can get really motivated. And it's like, yeah, going straight to 10,000 steps a day, gonna just go out here and walk and these calories and everything like that, which is great. It's great to have that motivation in the beginning and want to start and want to go hard, but also being cognizant of when it comes to that can affect our feet and making sure that we're prepared for that. So I had to make sure that I got comfortable shoes because at first you had some really worn down shoes that you had for the longest time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go straight into getting all these steps a day. And the combination of going quickly into it, also with the shoes that were not very comfortable, made my feet sore and made the journey that more daunting. So instead of going into it ill prepared, making sure that I had actual comfortable walking shoes that have a good cushion, that are able to provide the balance, able to sustain a longer walk and not have my feet sore and red and inflamed to where I feel like I don't want to walk again for weeks, right? Because then that defeats the purpose. If we're going into it and we go too hard right out the gate, starting at 10,000 steps, starting with, that aren't the most comfortable, then once we get burnt out, once my feet sore, our legs are sore, you're not following and preparing properly, then now we basically feel kind of defeated and now we're not going for weeks. And that's worse than starting slower, with the proper shoes. Also, not going straight to 10,000 steps necessarily if we're going from the couch to walking, like gradually working your way up is also really important. So, with okay, barely getting any steps, 3,000 steps a day is a change, and that's something that is different and improved from your baseline, or then 5,000 steps a day and then 7,000 till getting to 10,000. So that's something that's really important that I had to realize is just starting low and slow, and then also making sure that I'm fully prepared again with comfortable shoes, even compression socks as well, depending. Me, again, when I first started and I was a lot heavier, so I had to really make sure that I had the proper tools, making sure that you're not burning myself out, that I'm not tiring my body out before I even kind of like remotely get into a rhythm with my walking routine. So that was another thing, just making sure that I had comfortable shoes and compression socks to help kind of offset as far as the amount of walking that I'd be doing. And the next thing that I learned the hard way was not accounting for the amount of time, right? Like I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go knock these 10,000 steps out the way, right before work. Yeah, right before work. Yeah, I'll go at like before work. Yeah, I'll go at like, 7. And then how long is it gonna take me? Maybe like 45 minutes, and I'll get these steps done. No, 30 minutes, I'm at not even half of 10,000 steps. So understanding that 10,000 steps takes quite some time, like does take a lot of time. So with understanding that, instead of I was getting my hopes up and then being disappointed, thinking like, yeah, I'll be able to knock these out really quick in 30 minutes before work or 45 minutes. But understanding that it does take time, especially depending on the pace. So that way you can account for the time and prepare for it properly. You know that for you it takes an hour and a half or 2 hours, depending on the pace you're walking, then you can account for that. And you can break it up throughout the day, right? You can go 30 minutes before work. You can do 30 minutes on your lunch break. You could do 15 minutes here and there today, and then 30 minutes after work. So just understanding that and accounting for the time. And once you know how long it takes you, then you can kind of that and set it up to make sure that you're able to hit those amount of steps that you want to reach, based on the amount of time that it takes and depending on your pace. So that was another thing that I had to learn, is that it takes time. And the next was that it can sometimes start to get a little bit boring. So after doing it for some time, of course, there's like motivation in the beginning, usually that gets us going. But after walking, especially like on the treadmill in the gym, that can start to get boring. It's very mundane, it's doing the same thing, looking at the same wall. So it becomes like, okay, like Groundhog Day, doing the same thing over and over again. So I had to realize that I needed to switch up my walking routine. It can definitely feel mundane and then start to feel not as enjoyable or something I look forward to it. So I like to switch it up where I do some of my walks outside and I do some of my walks inside on the treadmill. And then also some other things is if I know that I'm doing it on the treadmill, giving myself something to look forward to on that walk, whether it's listening to a podcast or listening to some music, saving like episode from a TV show like Love Island or something. I'm gonna watch that while I'm on the treadmill, and just being fully immersed in a TV show or something like that makes the time fly by. Or even catching up with one of my friends or family members and like that for when I go on my walk. And that also makes it so much more easier when the time passes by, just literally flies by. And then another thing is just switching up my walks outside. You just love to explore the city. So I like to switch up my walks and go on different pathways, go in different neighborhoods. And that really makes the time go by fast as well because it's new. Your brain is like, oh, I've never seen this place before. And it makes the walk so much more exciting and so much less boring and mundane. So that's something that I also had to learn the hard way, is like I have to switch up these walks before getting myself in a rut and wanting to quit because I'm just like walking and it's so boring. So, yeah, let me know down in the comments which of these have surprised you, or which of these you feel like will help you on your journey that you might relate to, or it's something you didn't think about. And also, again, as I mentioned, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video.